This episode has been brought to you by Manscaped. The new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GOLTS20 for 20% off plus free shipping today. This week on the Heart of the Gulch YouTube show, we sit down with musician/songwriter Harper Grace. In today's Walk the Line episode, Harper gives us a backstage pass to check her out during CMA Fest at the Good Molecules Reverb stage. Let's check out the episode. We are in the heart of the Gulch. My name is Tony Mendoza, your host, and today, well, we got a fellow Texan in the building, and I'm super excited to talk to her today. She is breaking out one of her brand new singles when we're recording this right now, Break It Like a Man. We got the one and only Harper Grace in the building.
What's up? What's good? Hello.
Harper, how you doing today?
I'm so good. How are you?
Well, you know, I was doing some research on you.
Yeah.
And the hardest thing that I heard is that you gave away your phone number for being in Texas anymore. So now it's a 615 number.
I actually haven't yet.
Oh, you haven't yet?
I haven't yet. Thank you. It was something that I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. But then the moment that I've lived here, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should keep a piece of Texas, you know? Like, Texas will always be a part of me. I always thought I was going to get a 615 number. It was actually a dream as a kid. Like, I was like, you know, I'm going to be in Nashville. 615 will be my number, but I haven't yet. So I still haven't.
So we're talking McKinney, Texas.
Yes, McKinney is where I kind of grew up. I grew up in Coppell. That was like the original down home roots, but I didn't quite love my hometown so much, so I just pretended like I wasn't from there.
Well, for the folks that are watching this, just to make sure that is actually in the Dallas area, right?
Yes, it's like an hour north of Dallas.
Oh my gosh, and I'm sure you've seen that place grow like wildflower.
It's wild. Every time I go back home, like my parents have moved straight down 380. We just keep on getting farther and farther. We were in Prosper, then McKinney. Now we're in a little town called Krugerville. And every time I come back, I feel like there's more shopping centers. There's more things. I'm like, this is just wild.
Before you moved to Nashville, because you've been coming back and forth from Nashville for 8 years or so?
Yeah, I think we're almost getting close to 9 years. So
wow. So talk to me about the time before Nashville and, starting to use your voice, and just talk to me about the family life back then.
Yeah, honestly, my parents have been super helpful and very much supporters of, the music world. It's kind of funny because nobody in my family at all does music. My Nana plays the accordion, but that's genuinely the extent of musicality in the family. But at age 14 is when I took my first trip to Nashville. I basically looked on Wikipedia and searched up all my favorite songwriters and songs and who played on the sessions and who were the publishers, and just kind of looked up all of this stuff, gathered all my information, emailed people, direct messaged people, and basically I presented my mother with a whole week's worth of a calendar. And I was like, Mom, we've got to go this week because I have all this this stuff to do. And she's like, what the heck? What do you mean? And so they surprised me for a trip when I was 10, on my 10th birthday, to come down to Nashville for my birthday, but it was just a stopping point on the way to the beach. And I cried the whole entire time to the beach because I did not want to leave Nashville. And so since that point, I think that, just the love for music continued to grow, and I wanted to do anything and everything I possibly could to get to Nashville. And so scheduling a trip, talking to people, I had a lot of people that did not respond, a lot of people that said no. But the ones that said yes really helped me establish community and relationships out here. And so
I'm guessing you had to play a little bit over there in Texas. Now, I'm wondering, have you ever had yet the chance to play Billy Bob's?
I have, actually.
Hey.
Yes. I was actually just talking to somebody about this the other day. I grew up two-stepping.
Real two-stepping.
Real two-stepping, like Texas two-stepping.
Yeah, let them know what the difference is.
There's a big difference, guys, in Texas two-stepping. And I'm actually just coming to realize this fairly recently, but I just opened up for Josh Turner recently. And we were on this tangent about dancing and stuff. But I had mentioned I grew up dancing at Cowboys Red River. And I would sing at Red River.
One of the best areas in the Dallas area is Red River.
Yes, the best. Like,
absolutely.
Literally. And so growing up dancing there, I also always wanted to play at Billy Bob's, but I was on tour with Nelly, and we actually played that venue for the first time, which was really wild because I had seen so many concerts there. Even some side stage ones. I remember watching Chris Jansen at Billy Bob's, and he was one-man band, guitar, a kick drum, a harmonica, and himself, and it was like the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I've just missed Texas two-stepping so much. And I'm like, it's not the same in Nashville, like dancing. Well, I just befriended this really amazing group.
Yeah.
It's called Country City Swing in Nashville, Tennessee. This group of friends that I just met, like super recently, have been super supportive. They've only known me for a few days, and they've shown up to like all of my shows. There's like 15 to 30 of them at a time. And
wow.
We all have gone out, and I've learned this new techniques of dancing. I've never been technically trained. You just, go to these places in Texas and two-step your little heart out.
It depends on who the person is leading you.
That's very true. And if you can't really follow, it's hard to dance,
Oh, absolutely.
But if the leader is not doing his job, then it's, the dance is not really that fun.
Now that you have some, actual two-stepping under your belt, do you think you can break it like a man and make someone teach a guy how to do it?
I mean, possibly. We could. I like the way you threw that in there real quickly. Yeah, honestly, we could train it up.
Let's talk about, having the opportunity moving here to Nashville as an audition. And so it was American Idol.
Yes.
So shout out to that, because that's amazing. And I thought it was very interesting that you took the approach of singing your original music. That's not normal.
It is not normal. And I cannot tell you the amount of times that I was shown from the producers videos actually from the judges. There's a video of Katie separately and Lionel separately and Luke separately, basically encouraging you to just have a flair on, another cover song, or, kind of just being are you sure you want to do an original song? Because it could go
Either way.
Yeah. And I think with my thing in particular, kind of reverting all the way back, the story that I originally have on Idol is about my anthem story and, what happened when I was 11, which for those of you that don't know, I used to be known as the worst national anthem singer ever. With Idol in particular, I was very scared to go on and do a reality show after kind of being criticized by and ridiculed by basically the whole world after being on TV. And so I carefully picked, which one I thought would be best to go on and audition with. And at the time it was a song called Yard Sale, and went on and I sang that. And, hearing from the judges, especially being such a big fan of Luke Bryan and him already, immediately after finishing the song, remembering some of the lyrics and saying them back to me. I just remember, I was always a big dreamer. And so coming in with my big old dream board and, saying all the things that I wanted to accomplish and achieve, and standing in front of the judges and having that be something that I wanted to do, was really, really kind of surreal. So, a very cool experience. I did only original music throughout the whole competition. Cool.
And that's very unique too.
Yes, yeah. And at the time, I don't know how many of the artists were singing originals on my season. I think because it was the first reboot season. But I do remember some of my friends also sang originals, but some of them backed out of doing it from getting I think it was the same video that they'd show everybody and be like, are you sure? This is the judge's, opinion on whether we should be doing originals
so let
or
the
not.
people know this. So for the folks that are watching this that have never been or never will be in front of, an actual set, because you spent some time over there in LA, talk to me what it's like behind the scenes. So not only meeting Katy Perry and all these folks that are in front of there, right? It's I think Lionel Richie was another one, right?
Yes, yeah.
I love Lionel Richie, by the way.
He's awesome.
Now, talk to me about what those interactions were like, but also talk to me about the things that the people do not see about American Idol. Is it glamorous or is it not so glamorous?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's a reality TV show, so there's a lot going on in the midst. There's a lot that you actually just like you said, that you don't see, you know, a lot of really insanely, amazingly talented people who, you know, don't even get any airtime at all. I knew people that made it a little bit, you know, further than I did that didn't even get shown on the show. And Idol does a very good job at capturing a lot of people's stories, and that it's really beneficial to be able to fall in love with not only the singer, but you know, where they came from and who they are. I think they have a very great platform for that. And that was really beneficial for me too, you know, coming on with a story and allowing them to, you know, share that was really, really great. And, yeah, but there's a lot of fun stuff that happens in the background. There's Hollywood Week is wild. We're all in the same hotel. There's like 100, 200 of us during Hollywood Week, and it is nonstop, no sleep. You're like kind of fend for your life the whole entire time.
So they're working
singing. You. I mean, you work on your own. They go off and be like, okay, you can like, you know, pick your songs and go off with your group. Like group rounds is kind of crazy because that's where you get together. And I'm sure people who watch the show kind of get a little ounce of what's going on. But I mean, we stay up all night on our own because we're like, we want to perfect the song.
And
we
you
want
have
to
an
make sure
adrenaline.
Yeah,
You have
exactly.
adrenaline.
Exactly. So it's fun though. I mean, you make a lot of friendships. You get to learn more about yourself. I think that was the main thing that I really wanted to do going on the show was learning more about who I was as an artist and kind of put myself in a challenging place. I think ever since I was younger, I've always wanted to do things that challenged me. I never liked staying in a comfortable spot. I think my team has a joke where they basically say like, do not leave Harper with a day with nothing on her calendar. Like Harper cannot physically be bored or like stuff's gonna hit the fan, you know, like you have to constantly have Harper doing something. I love working and I love doing things that make me genuinely, like within career wise, uncomfortable, because I think that challenges me as an artist, and even just like spiritually, emotionally, all of it. It challenges my character. It challenges, you know, whatever the outcome is, and my thought process gets challenged, you know, all of the things. And I can kind of analyze how I act and what happens in different processes. And I take that and kind of apply it to my career and my artistry and my brand and learn from each and everything. And so Idol was that for me. You know, I went on knowing that the Lord kind of wanted me there in the first place, and took every single opportunity and every aspect of that as a character building, as an artist building, and that's exactly what it did, and I loved it.
I love that. And you know, before we take our first break, because we got to thank the sponsors of the video, one thing that I do want to ask quickly is, you know, alumni. One thing about any of these shows, whether it's The Voice, Idol, you name it, there's always someone of significance that you met on those days where you guys are all in the same room that are doing things today. Do you know off the top of your head some of the folks that you were with and that are currently still doing music and doing very well?
Yeah, some of the same people on my season was Gabby Barrett. She's killing it. Freaking phenomenal female country artist. And then we have Maddie Poppy's also killing it. It's been a hot minute. I think we get to like kind of see each other in passing and like applaud each other along the way, and also have people on social media, which is great. But
yeah, because it's been a minute. So, I mean, and speaking of that, because we're going to move the interview along to what's going on today.
Yeah. And that's 2018. What is it now?
We're in 2024.
Wow.
And speaking of this, when you guys watch this, it will be later in the year. We're recording this at almost the beginning of April. So I'm very excited for you guys to see this in season 4. But real quick, we got to thank the sponsors of the video. So we'll be right back with Harper right after this. This episode has been brought to you by Manscaped. The new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GOLDS20 for 20% off plus free shipping today. I'm very curious to know what's Harper's writing style. What gets you in the zone to create the music that you make?
Oh, goodness. That's a great question. It's so many things. I feel like I get inspiration from really anything, whether that's a long drive or a relationship or something that somebody said at Trader Joe's. Like, it's so all over the place, but I think my brain just never shuts off. I can hear like music all of the time and instruments, and like it's just constantly going up here. But the writing style is a little bit different each time. It depends on who I'm in the room with. But currently, Cooper Bascom and Ted T have been my producers, and we took a big group up to Utah very recently and did a writer's retreat where we wrote 15 songs in 2 days, and we're up all night long, and it was...
Sounds like a Nashville slumber party.
It was amazing. Yeah, actually, it was kind of why we did the whole Princess Diaries, like with the mattresses down the stairs. It was great. It was like a big old... It was like summer camp, for adults.
Well, what is it like, you being the musician, what is that like dating?
It's definitely hard, like traveling so much. Your schedule's all over the place. But I think, if you ask any artist, I feel like finding a relationship and settling down is definitely really hard. I feel like even outside of the music industry, just whether that's sports and politics, like all of it. My thing is like, I want to know that somebody wants to get to know me for me, and rather than, the
blue check mark.
Yeah. And I actually have had some people message and be like, pretty much later on finding out that they only liked me for that particular reason. And I've gone out with a few people and like had a few months of talking to certain guys, and that kind of is the common theme. Either they ask me what kind of guy I look for, and then I've learned to like kind of not... I'm an open book if we haven't.
Yeah,
if we haven't learned already. I
love
really
that.
shut up. But sometimes they're like, oh, what do you want? I'm like, oh my god, like you want to know? I'm a hopeless romantic, and like I love love, and this is great. So then this whole like facade kind of gets put together, and then a few months in, 3 weeks in, whatever it is, and this whole 180 turn comes around, and I'm like, oh wow, like that's not what I thought you were. I'm gonna
wait a second. So you're telling me a little bit that you got some Taylor Swift in you?
I mean,
you got some Taylor Swift in you. Let's just be honest here. Now, look, okay, so the reason why I brought up relationships is because a lot of the music that you create has a lot of heartbreak.
Yes.
And, the reason why I asked what it's like to be a musician and dating is because I think, just like the Swifties out there, that Taylor Swift can't make good music unless, well... Whoa. Y'all are going to kill me. All right.
That's not what he meant.
That's not what I meant. I meant that her hits are typically about heartbreak.
Yes. She's gone out with people, and I think for me, my mom's always been like, go out, like meet people, talk to people. You get to like live life and also write stories about it, It's my best friend Annabelle has looked at guys in the face and been like, listen, she's a heartbreaker. Like, you don't want to, I don't know if you want to take the chance, and then they're like, oh yeah, like we got this. And then all of a sudden
you break it like a man.
And then I end up breaking it like a man, and so yeah. But it's okay. It's fine.
Well, going back to your songwriting.
Yes.
So I think what's amazing is that a lot of your music speaks to, you in your music, it sounds very much like you're talking to someone and you're telling them about your experience and how they can change up their experience. And that's what I've learned by listening to your music. Now, outside of that, you just released later last year was a few songs that are near and dear to everyone in the holidays. And what was my favorite? My favorite was actually Santa Baby. Dude, you looked so cute in that outfit.
Thanks. I changed
outfits.
like 5 times.
Yeah, like outfits. What was that? And I know we're speeding up a little bit, but what was that process like going through those 2 songs? And man, the production of Santa Baby by itself was awesome. The choreography. Thank you. What was that like to create that?
That whole experience was really, really awesome. I actually got to fly in my dance coach from home. And I used to do like little hip hop stuff. I know I said earlier, I haven't technically trained with my 2-stepping, but I used to do jazz and hip hop and stuff like that on the side. And so Fenton was my dance coach, and he has helped me, choreograph even my stage presence and stuff like that. And so I have always wanted him to come and be a part of something. And so when Santa Baby was put together, I had prompted him. He came up with all of that choreography for the dancers day of. So when we got there, we had never met the dancers before. They showed up. They were phenomenal. Loved working with each and every one of them.
You jump off the screen to a lot of people, and you know how to work the camera. So where did that come from?
I used to spend a lot of time staring at myself in the mirror.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, like growing up, I loved music, but I also loved acting. I actually did acting in LA for a long time, and I also did modeling.
For Nickelodeon, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, for Nickelodeon and stuff. And I did voiceover acting. I did print modeling, and my mom was into photography growing up. And so I had this moment where I realized, honestly, it was like from watching Taylor Swift too, is knowing that for some strange reason, I just put together, if I was going to do music, it was like going to be this whole brand. Like I can't just sing and have fun, like I do that. But my thought was always, if I'm going to sell out arenas, which is a big dream that I've had since I was tiny, is like, I've sat in the nosebleeds before, and I've watched Taylor from the nosebleeds, and she makes you feel like you're right down at the front. And so in my head, I'd be like, my first concert was a Rascal Flatts concert, and I also sat all the way in the back. And so watching concerts and being like, how can you connect with those people in the back? And so I would stand in front of my mirror, and I would hold a microphone, and I'd hold my guitar, and I'd, be like, if someone's going to take a picture of me while I'm singing, how can I like keep that, like that one moment, or like that one hit? Or I'd watch Elvis, I'd watch, Dolly Parton, all these things.
Have you heard the Cody Johnson song yet?
Which one?
Oh my gosh, the people in the back. Oh, you haven't heard that yet?
Oh my gosh, I'm literally talking about the people in the back, and I need to go and listen to it.
Oh, please do.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
The entire. So not to break off the conversation there, but Cody Johnson made a song in his latest album talking to the people in the back.
Wow.
And that is the name of the song, and I can only imagine that is exactly what he plays in his music here at Bridgestone that just happened.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
All these social medias, there's so many different outlets today, so I'm curious to know, where is your audience predominantly, and what's an area in social media that you're seeing grow like wildfire?
I think social media is, honestly, first off, I'll say is a great spot, especially now, like, it being so worldwide, you can kind of reach anybody and everybody with socials. I'd say that currently with my fans right now, that it's mostly Instagram and TikTok. I'm getting the opportunity to share my anti-bullying story and kind of what happened to me as a kid, and also where I'm at now, and encourage these, middle school, high schoolers. I'm traveling to Chicago and St. Louis and all these places, and talking about it and meeting the kids.
A little bit about it.
Yeah. No, I basically get to go in and share what I went through when I was a kid. And I sang the national anthem, was known as the worst national anthem singer ever, and was ridiculed by basically the whole world. My anthem was played on the commercial break of the Olympics, had over 1 million views in less than 24 hours. Basically what had gone wrong that day was I couldn't hear myself. The sound check was not really a thing. The microphone had a 2.8 second delay. I started off on the wrong note, but I thought if I stopped and started over, it'd just be an embarrassment. So I sang an anthem that should have been probably 90 seconds long, 3 minutes long. And waking up, the first thing that I read as an 11-year-old was, this is why abortion should be legal, and how people were going to come and murder me and my family, and basically thought that I had desecrated the anthem on purpose. And so going through not only the cyberbullying, but, waking up to my face being plastered on different newspapers in Belgium and China and all of these places, and then going to school. I was homeschooled, but I went to public school for 5th and 6th grade, and I was shoved into half-size lockers, physically bullied in school. I always say, if you could think of the worst possible thing when it comes to bullying, or even just having somebody bring you down in any way, that I could very confidently say I've been through all of it. But I'm so grateful because of that situation. At the time when I was 11, I went into a few schools and I, shared what had happened, and got to meet other kids that were walking through similar situations in their schools, and just encourage them and be like, hey, I have a dream, but I'm not going to give up. So let's both not give up together. And now it's 10 years later from the anthem, and I'm so grateful for my team. We've been going back into different stadiums, arenas, and ballparks on what we call a redemption tour. And it's honestly terrifying. I'd be lying if I said that I enjoyed singing the national anthem. I think it's a beautiful song, and I'm honored to sing it, and I love America. But it's... Yeah, America's great. But it's hard. It's the hardest song to sing, and so facing my fear, like going back into, challenging myself, that's something that I have a really tough time doing, is singing the anthem. But I do it over and over and over again 10 years later to prove not only to myself, but to help the others who are listening to my story and also trying to overcome something that they're going through, and know that no matter what anybody says, you can still overcome, and you still have purpose, and you still have, a reason to be here and to do the things that God put on your heart as a dream. And so going into these schools, and honestly, it's been really cool because the age range, I mean, I remember, I remember being young and sitting in a middle school and, going through what I went through and just kind of being surrounded by so many people, but thinking that nobody understands. And when I go into these schools, I actually ask the question, I'm like, I have people raise their hand, and I ask, I'm like, raise your hand if you have heard something that had been said about you, in school or outside of school, but that somebody said something about you. And obviously everybody raises their hand in the whole entire school. And then I ask afterwards, I'm like, and now raise your hand if you've been the person that has said something about somebody. And they raise their hand. And I'm like, we all say things that sometimes we wish we could take back, but we don't realize the weight that words actually have. And the saying that sticks and stones will break your bones and words will never hurt you, I think is bullcrap, because words are so powerful. And that's the thing that you can either build somebody up or you can tear them down with. And I think that looking at your life like a vase, sometimes little plants and little pots will get cracks in it, but you can still see a light through the crack. And I think that that's that little ounce of hope that you can hold on to. And, just going into these schools and telling the kids and telling them that they can do anything they set their mind to, because look, 10 years later, I'm in Nashville, I'm writing songs, I'm still singing, I didn't give up, even when people told me in such a very horrible way on how I should, and giving me reasons and explanations on exactly how to do so. Instead of listening to that, I took it as ammunition and as gas to my tank and fuel to my fire to be like, I'm going to prove everybody wrong, and I'm going to prove to myself that I am strong enough and that I can do it. And also not just do it for myself, but to do it for, even if it's for one person to believe in themselves. And so I've seen me going into these platforms actually benefit the community building within social media, going back to that standpoint. And with each school that I'm going to, I make a standpoint in saying I love talking to people so much. We haven't heard yet. I probably haven't taken a breath in the last 5 seconds or 5 minutes. That's probably a much longer time. But anyways, I love talking to people. And I think that the main thing is I love the music, but I wouldn't be able to do the music if it weren't for the people that actually listen to it.
I love that. Now, one thing that I'm wondering, because you said you're on a redemption tour right now.
Yes.
If someone came up to your team right now and they asked you, are you ready to do the national anthem on the Super Bowl? Okay. Do you feel like you're ready for that?
I think that you can never prepare yourself enough for really any situation,
So you would say yes.
I would say yes.
Well, but and it's not that first of all, if you ever, and sorry guys, I haven't talked to you guys at all. If you ever get an opportunity to do anything with the Super Bowl, you should take the opportunity, especially if you're going to be highlighted.
Yes.
But the reason why I said that is because, you're going through the redemption tour of singing the national anthem in places where there's a bunch of people listening to it, from everywhere from ballparks to, I'm sure, even basketball stadiums.
Yeah.
So it's different, and it's challenging to be in front of those people. But, before we take our next break here, because I want to talk about the new music you got coming up.
Yes.
One thing that I'm curious about is, name me a few places that you've had those moments where you're like, wow, I cannot believe that I'm playing in this location today.
I think that the most iconic one for me has actually just been Bridgestone Arena.
Ooh, I love that.
I remember taking my first trip when I was 10 years old and on my birthday and passing it and pointing at it and being like, I'm going to perform there. And actually 10 years later, almost to the date, I was on tour with Nelly, and I I got to play Bridgestone, and I was direct support on some of those shows, and yeah, that was pretty iconic. But I was actually just in London too. I think being able to travel overseas and sing songs, and even have people in London singing some of my songs out there, that's been really iconic too. We played C2C Festival at the O2, and that arena, stadium, whatever we're going to call it, is huge. It's massive, and it's amazing. The sound system's incredible, but most of all, the fans in London are incredible.
It's famous. O2 Arena is literally like, that's Backstreet Boys, NSYNC,
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's
so
not
like,
small arena.
no, not at all. It's insane. But also knowing that a country festival can pack out London like that, like, is so encouraging and so exciting. So I think my top two as of now of like all time have been Bridgestone and the O2.
CMA Fest is coming up.
CMA Fest is coming up.
So are you excited for CMA Fest? And let the people know what CMA Fest it means to here in Nashville.
It is so exciting. I love CMA Fest, one, because the foundation itself is phenomenal. You know, all of these people are coming together, and we get to just sing. Like, none of us are, I think it's aware that none of us get paid to do CMA Fest. We freely get to just come and sing to the fans, and it is one of the highlights of my year, because not only do I get to meet new people and see fans that, you know, come all across everywhere, even some people from London come make their way up for CMA Fest, but you get to support your friends while doing it, you know. And I'm on the Good Molecules stage this year, and super excited to do that. I was on Hard Rock last year, and the one before that as well, I was on Hard Rock stage.
So are there levels? I mean, for the person that just goes to CMA Fest, obviously the stadium is going to be the number one.
Yeah.
What would you consider the levels from a musician perspective? So when you're being played, when you have to go to this next stage, are you getting closer and closer to the grand stage, which is a Titan Stadium?
Yeah, I think that is probably shouldn't look at it like there's levels, or that, you know, certain stage is better than the other, because I think they're all incredible. But I think that, you know, when you look at the lineups on each stage, obviously the phenomenal mega, like the people I grew up listening to, you know, are usually headliners, and so making your way to the big stadium itself, the big show, is something that I think every artist dreams to do. And so, yeah, you kind of get to see up and coming people, as well as, you know, the ones that you hear on the radio on a day-to-day basis. And I think that that's the cool thing about CMAs, is it's all inclusive, and also you kind of get prepared to go and see them, you know, the big show at night. And so they have all these other stages where you get to see really incredible people at the same time before the big show starts.
And Nashville has them all over the place. So obviously when CMA Fest is going on, there's going to be songwriters rounds.
Yes.
And songwriting rounds are going to have people they're not going to be thrown out there CMA official. You are shout out CMA official. So
oh yeah, that's right.
yeah, you are. You're CMA official, which is amazing. And like I said, you went to the Hard Rock stage. We know some folks that are alumni that are going to the Hard Rock stage. So shout out to Taylor Austin Dye, who's on the Hard Rock stage. And but you know, now you're on AMP.
Yes.
And pretty soon after that, I hope it's Riverfront.
I know. That would be great.
And then after Riverfront, I think there's only the stadium after that.
No,
it's amphitheater?
It's Chevy, the Chevy stage, right?
I don't know. I always thought it was the Riverfront,
Chevy, and then
the amphitheater.
Yeah.
And then the stadium.
Then the stadium.
Dang,
it
girl,
is like
you got some steps to go up.
I know. But I think that sometimes you can like just bump it. You know?
I mean,
I don't know.
With social media and y'all's fans out there that are watching this right now, you guys have the ability to bump Harper up. So it's up to you guys to make sure that you guys are watching her content. So break it like a man.
Break it like a man. This song is so fun. Back to the acting hat. I got to put on a redheaded wig and play a completely different character in my music video, and kind of help co-produce this whole thing with Collective Films. And it's fun, it's edgy, it's cool, but it also has a lot of like my fashion-esque little, you know, moments in the video, kind of kind of hints a little bit towards even just the Santa Baby like color scheme. Going for that like just the vintage edgy vibe, you know.
You with the red hair, huh?
I know. It's a little wild. It's actually kind of wild. I've shown my friends the music video and they're like, wait, is that? And I'm like, that is me. Honestly though, Break It Like a Man, I think it shows a different side of, you know, what's to come. It's a very, it's just a very cool, honest song. And in particular, it wasn't necessarily at anybody. It was actually a title that one of my songwriters, my co-writers had Alex Klein had brought in this title called Break It Like a Man. And we kind of put on this hat and was like, you know, what if we paint this picture as a story and, you know, this guy's two-timing and all this stuff. I actually very recently, I didn't think that it was going to be a song that I could relate to. Like, I thought that it was cool to have something like that and, you know, play the part in the music video and stuff. But I just recently found out on Instagram that I was getting two-time played by somebody. And I was like, oh, that's the same time frame that we were talking. That's random. So I guess now I can say that Home Dog did not break it like a man, and I can channel a little more of that.
So being able to be upfront is basically what Break It Like a Man is.
This is what I think defines a boy from a man. It's just communication. I think that it's so simple to have a conversation. And I will say sometimes being transparent and being like upfront is hard, but it's so much nicer on the heart when you're just gonna have a confrontational conversation. And it doesn't even have to be confrontational, you know, like it doesn't have to be aggressive or an argument or anything. Just like, I think it saves a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of heartache for a guy to say, hey, like, I'm not like, I don't think that this is what I want to do, rather than backing up and just ghosting off, you know? To break a heart like a man, or just to break a heart in general, you can let them down easy by just having the conversation.
I love that. Now, speaking of which, let's talk about some more. You said that you're going to be throwing out some new singles throughout the year. So let's talk about the next up 2 singles. Yeah.
So after Break It Like a Man, it's a song called Getaway. Now, it doesn't sound like, you know, Getaway, kind of like we had said in the kitchen earlier.
Yeah, outside of the thing.
Man, there's like a common theme here.
Yeah, Break It Like a Man, Get
no,
Away.
Get Away. No, it's actually a love song. It's kind of like what I think of when I think of
to get away.
Yeah, to like go out on a getaway. And we filmed in we also did a music video to this song, but in a really cool drop top car, and like filmed at a laundromat and kind of did this like very edgy, not edgy actually, very just the vintage vibes, you know, like I think of when my Nana and I call him my Ta instead of grandpa because my brother could not say that, so we say Ta. But anyways, when my Nana and Ta met, like just cute simple things like going on drives and getting a milkshake and getting a burger with each other, like, so all of these simple dates that you think of when you think of like cute little romance, that's really all pictured in this music video and in the song in general. And it's my little you know, summer hand out the window breezy love song.
What is a moment or an interview that you had that was really just like a pinch me, I'm dreaming moment?
Oh my. It's so hard because I mean, I was with Josh Turner and that felt like a pinch me, I'm dreaming moment because I like used to dance to his songs, you know?
Everyone loves Josh Turner.
But at childhood, like Camp Rock days, you know, I love the Jonas Brothers. I'm their dad and their management team has been very sweet to be alongside of my team. So that is my management team. And I've gotten to attend Jonas Brothers concerts. I think I've been to 4 now. And I've watched in many different angles and areas, but I think just, you know, standing alongside and just, they're very nice to look at, you know, they sound
Which
nice.
Which one's the one that you're most attracted to?
Oh no. Am I even allowed to say this? It's probably Joe. I think I've always been since I was younger, I always thought Joe was the cutest. But I think they're all so cute. They're so great. And they're so talented.
But I love the fact that, that is your pinch me moment. It's a very unique answer to that.
Favorite on-air moment.
What has been your favorite on-air moment or on stage moment?
To throw it back to my Idol days, there's actually a clip towards the end of the day that I sang Rest in Peace. And I actually mentioned afterwards when they asked me, but my heel, I almost ate it. Like I almost completely fell down the stairs just solely because Luke Bryan had looked at me and smiled. And I used to think Luke Bryan's still a cute little guy. He's got Country Girl Shake It For Me Girl, and he always gets up on there and he shakes his little hips and he's dancing on the stage. And ever since I was younger, I was always like, man, he's got some great stage presence and he's so good and he's so cute. It's so great. And so, Luke Bryan looked at me and I almost tripped down the stairs. And so there is a forever moment on YouTube of me like having to catch my balance a little bit. And then I'm like, oh, I don't know. Luke Bryan looked at me and I just kind of blushed a little bit. Little 16-year-old me talking about I almost fell down because Luke smiled. So, Luke.
Yeah, right. I love that. I mean, has there been a moment that you weren't expecting to see someone here in Nashville that you stumbled across?
I don't know if it's necessarily Nashville because I feel like you kind of can expect to really see anybody. Like
at any time.
Especially if you're, within the industry and you're kind of just, I think at this point I'm just like, oh, hey, like that doesn't surprise me because we're in Nashville. Like here you are. But I will say, fairly recently, I was leaving London and I love Jake Owen. We end up 2 days later flying out and I'm like, bun up, no makeup, sweat set, and all of a sudden I hear Harper Grace from the corner and we're leaving breakfast to go to the gate and I turn around and it's Jake Owen and he's waving at me and I was like, oh my gosh, because I follow Jake Owen, but I actually don't think Jake Owen follows me on Instagram, but he does respond, which is very kind. But I'm like, I didn't think that he would actually recognize me, from saying how much I've enjoyed his music. And he ends up flagging me down and waving and meeting me and saying hi. I've met him a handful of times, but it's been after shows and stuff. And so he said hi to me and my mom. His dad was with him in London as well. So we took a little airport picture. But it wasn't a crazy thing of being like, oh wow, we're all at the same place at the same time. We all had different flights, but I think that actually was a recent moment that I was like, oh, actually did not expect to see you there and also did not expect you to even recognize me or say hi, which is kind of really cool.
Do you remember, moments like that when you meet your fans today? When you meet your fans today and you see, people come up to you and ask you for your autograph, I mean, what's that like? And people will never know what that really is like until they're in that situation. What is it like to have someone come up to you and ask for your autograph?
Honestly, it really encourages me each time. I think it's really, really, I think that sometimes people get a little bit nervous, so it makes me really excited when they do come up and say something, because there's been times where I've seen somebody kind of look and, not know if they should come up, and I'll kind of be like, come on, please come here. You're so welcome to come over here. I would love that. And so first off, it's really cool that they, gain the confidence, I guess, in a sense. Because at the end of the day, I'm 22. I'm still normal, even though I get to do kind of crazy cool stuff. I love talking to anybody and everybody, but having those moments and getting to meet people it's just really encouraging. I think knowing that not only am I getting to do the thing that I love, but people are also enjoying it too. And so getting to meet the fans is really my top moment. I love that.
For the person that's going through a hard time out there and has their dream to be, on Idol or be a musician, and there's folks in their corner that just doesn't believe the vision, what do you have to say to those people, and how can they get through that exact same scenario?
I would say if you first off believe that it's a dream that was purposefully placed in your heart and that you have this passion for something, especially if it's music and if it's singing, then that's all that really matters. I think that opinions of people will be heavy and weigh you down, whether they're good opinions or bad opinions. They always have weight to them. And just filtering through the ones that actually encourage and benefit. And so at the end of the day, if you believe and you know that it's a dream that you love, to do it. And know that whatever, if people aren't in your corner, I like to just say it. The people that weren't in my corner, I just wanted to kind of prove them wrong and be like, well, you just wait. One of these days, you're probably going to be coming to the show with the nosebleeds, and I'm going to be like, you know what? Here's a better ticket. Forgiving the people that don't believe, but also kind of using it as a tool, as getting a little bit more fire and a little bit more drive and going for it, but you can do anything you set your mind to. So
I love that. Okay, so my last question on the show. So we're filming this on we're almost at the halfway point of the year, as crazy as that sounds. But, what are you looking forward to the rest of 2024 and maybe even the top of 2025?
Yeah.
Crazy you say that.
Well, I'm just going to speak it into existence. It's not a thing yet, but maybe it will be if I just kind of say it.
An Opry debut?
That's what I was going to say. It's actually really cool. I think I've pinpointed, I made a dream board. I make one every year, and something's already been checked off of my dream board this year. I just got a email that I'm walking my first CMT red carpet this year. And that's next. Well, for me right now, that's next week. So we're still getting stuff together, but that's April 7th.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the dress going to look like?
I don't actually genuinely don't know, which is why I'm trying to get it together. I'm like,
enough.
Goodness. Actually, just got some text messages of mood boards and pictures and dresses, so looking forward to look at that. But no, it is my first real red carpet, and so that's on my dream board. It's number 3 on there, and I went to my board yesterday and I was reading through it, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's kind of crazy. We're already on a roll and we're checking things off this year. But one of those things that I'm looking forward to is singing at the Grand Ole Opry one day. And that's where maybe it's 2024. That would be really, really awesome. And also just continuing on the Redemption tour and continuing to meet people and hug their necks and hear their stories and, be a part of their lives, and not only just be somebody they hear on their radio, but somebody that they can speak to and communicate with and get encouragement and advice from. I always say, I'm my DMs and my Instagram and my TikTok and all this stuff is open. And I think that's why I love social media, because it gives me a platform to literally be like, hey, what are you going through? If I'm available, I will talk to you. I want to. So making more friendships along the way, and playing shows and just meeting everybody.
Is there a album, or I'm not saying that's in existence yet, but I'm saying you're obviously releasing singles this year.
Yes.
And it seems to be a rollout. You guys have it planned out throughout the year.
Yep.
So does that turn into, from a musician standpoint, does singles turn into an EP, or does that turn into a full out album, or what does that turn into?
It could be anything. I think that's why I'm so excited about. They're coming out 6 weeks apart from each other, and there's 6 of them total. And I think for me, it's seeing what happens with them. If one pops off, if one goes to radio, that would be amazing. That would be awesome. And then, I've written over 580 songs in the last 3.5 years of my life, and not all of them are that great. Some of them are good, but some of them are, fun songs. But you write a lot of... You go through a lot of stuff, but I think it could be an album. It could be an EP. It could be just a bunch of more singles. But it leaves room for really anything. And I think that's why I'm so excited for the year, seeing if, social media, if the fans end up latching onto one song and something goes like wildfire, then that would be amazing. But just kind of leaving it up to the listener.
Well, we're going to leave it up to you right now to take us to your day in the life. So what we do, it could be anything from, a photo shoot to a video shoot to a photo shoot, you name it. We've been everywhere.
Amazing.
But the way that we tee it off is you look straight into that camera right there. You say your name and you say, this is how I walk the line, just like the Johnny Cash song. And I'll give you the tee it off, okay? Right after the applause here in 3.
I'm Harper Grace, and this is how I walk the line.
Hey, Harper.
We're currently driving to the Reverb stage at CMA Fest. It's bright and early. I've been up since 6 a.m. But we are adding a little touch-up right now.
She's tired.
Because I'm tired. Thursday night, I played at Ascend Amphitheater, and that one was absolutely wild.
I heard it was epic.
It was my first time playing Ascend and second year doing CMA Fest, but it felt so special because it was with all my band, or with all my label mates. It felt good. There was a moment at the end of the set that I actually almost started tearing up just because it was like, I've dreamed of playing doing that, playing shows, and it ain't gonna go wrong. Praise the Lord.
You're going to kick butt today because you're going to be early set. You're going to be an early set. It looks like it's already getting packed.
Oh, praise God. It's gonna be a fun one. The outfit's gonna stay on, the voice is gonna be intact, all the things. Hello everybody, it is Harper Grace here. Currently we are at the CMA Festival in Nashville, Tennessee, downtown. This is my second year playing CMA Fest and I am beyond thrilled. This is our second show of the festival. We are at the Reverb stage today, this morning at 11:25. You guys are about to see a little day in my life. This is actually a really fun episode because this is kind of the wild part of the performance side, and I'm just really stoked for you guys to see the ins and the outs and what goes on backstage with my band and my friends and my team. And so come on, join me and see what it's like to play a CMA festival.
That's not exactly the bushiest part of it. Come on.
Here we've got we've got Matt.
What's up, y'all?
Matt plays the bass.
Yes.
Got
We have the leather pants.
It's like
cut
we
off
knew.
we really did.
We're like leather matching.
Yes. Come on.
Can't forget about lovely Jordan. Jordan is electric, guitar, all the things. He shreds the gnar. And then we've got Koopy Doo. Koopy Doo! Now listen, all of the people in my band and all of the people in my team are very special to me, but this one is also very special. Because Koopy, literally, we write together.
We do.
He's my producer.
I am. Right?
I am. And he's also like my brother, so it's nice to have my brother a part of my band.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
To CMA.
To CMA and stadiums one day. Up and pray real fast. Right? I'm gonna say it up, pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you so much. We just pray that you would go before us in the show this morning, God. Let everything run smoothly. Ableton, tracks, everything, God. Help the instruments to all be intact and great and in tune. And help our vocal cords, help our dancing, help our bodies, God. Amen. Hands in on 3, CMA Fest. Here we go. CMA on 3. 1, 2, 3. CMA!
Nice to see everybody. Look at that, they're already drinking up there. Hi, at Teddy's Tavern. Hi, everybody. They're not even paying attention. They're half in the back. Somebody who's latest single, by the way, Getaway, just dropped. Download, buy, stream it wherever you buy your favorite music. Please welcome Curb recording artist and American Idol alum, Harper Grace.
I could see it from your look away, look. You want me to let you off that hook. Trying to tell me something better, tell me to my face. Don't wanna wreck it, honey. Make sure I understand. Quit lying that you love me while you're letting go of my hand. Don't you sneak away in the dark, boy. If you're gonna break my heart, break it like a man, like a man. I try to call, you don't pick up. I'm hearing rumors there's a redhead in your truck. So shoot me straight, not just a text.